my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Welcome to Addicted. I hope you are comfortable, and for today this program is going to be 1 hour long, and we are going to talk about a very important and interesting subject. Even though at New Life Ministries we have been running this program for many years, because of the recent developments in our country, we thought that today we should spend a little more time talking about what is treatment and what is rehabilitation. To a large extent, it seems as if there are misconceptions about what that should be. New Life Ministries has been in existence for over 33 years, and we have experienced all kinds of dramas, experiences, and challenges. And through that process, we have been running a program both for men and women. And over the years, you have seen some of the fruits of our labor, persons who have been coming onto this program, talking about their success stories, their challenges, and all their various experiences. Today, therefore, we are going to take a slightly different trend in our program by revisiting what really is treatment and what is rehabilitation. On my set today is a very familiar face, Paul, who is not a host today, but rather he's one of our resource persons. And he's, of course, you know, one of our addiction counselors and co-host of this program. With us is a special guest. He is no stranger to us, Gad Sinclair, and he is one of the hosts of Codependency. It's a radio program which has been in existence for over 18 years. And apart from that, Gad has been doing a tremendous amount of work in the area of treatment, recovery, interventions. In fact, he has dedicated a lot of his life towards this process. And so we thought we should also invite him because he's a veteran in the field. And I thought we should have a really interactive discussion about what is treatment and what is rehabilitation. So gentlemen, welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me, Hulsie.
It's great to have both of you here, and especially you guys. Paul is a regular. And I know for you to be sitting on your next side, that's really, really wonderful. I remember years ago you had done that program at the prisons, where you set up the radio program, and I know it's been still going on. And so congratulations on all the work you have been doing.
Thank you very much.
So let us talk about what really is treatment and what really is rehabilitation. And also let's separate between people who are mentally ill and those who have an addiction issue, and in some cases they may have a dual disorder. So maybe we could start with you, Paul. What is treatment for people in addiction?
Well, there are various forms of treatment for people in addiction. We could say, well, there are addiction and treatment goes in 3 ways. There's primary for people who haven't started using drugs yet, but they are vulnerable to somebody who may end up using drugs. And there are people who already started using drugs, but they're not chronic. They're now in the early stages. And that also has a form of treatment as well. And then there are people in the tertiary level who have started and have become very chronic in their using. They're using to live and living to use. And every time they use, it causes severe problems in their life. If not physically, mental, or social, it starts to affect the family.
So addiction comes in 3 forms.
3 different forms.
And of course, addiction is a disease. It's a disease which requires treatment.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And our form of treatment for the people who we deal with, which is tertiary level, people who have developed the habit of addiction, it's a holistic approach where we tackle the physical, the mental, the social, and as well as the spiritual. The physical in terms of their ability to be more healthy, because what we know that if you have a slumbering body, it creates an effect on the mind, and that could lead you to want to continue to use. Whereas if you have a healthy mind and you start to produce natural endorphins, you get a natural happy pill, something that is naturally feel good about yourself. So we have a professional gym instructor who train clients when they come in and give them a program to suit the individuals, you know, and that is, his name is Leroy P, as we all know, and he does a wonderful that where is concerned. Then we move on to the mental aspect of our program, which is necessary in treating addiction. We have sessions like self-esteem, because we know for a fact not everybody who have low self-esteem will become an addictive person, but everybody who develop addiction has low self-esteem. So we have sessions geared towards tackling the low self-esteem. We have sessions which is a very important, it's like the axis in which the whole program rotates around. It's called group therapy, where we sit in a circle with a counselor and a therapist, and we help the client to look at problems in their lives before they start using drugs, while they were using drugs, and problems that will occur now that they stop using drugs.
So they start to see life as on its own terms, in the past, the present, and the future.
Right. So they have a very holistic way of it. So we help clients to discover tools that they would need in order to face these new challenges that will confront them in their lives today, as well as to let go of the problems and challenges that they had in the past. Because what we know is that some clients have a tendency, or most clients have a tendency, to carry a lot of baggage from the past that they haven't fully let go yet. And it takes some mental processing, it takes some patience on their part of really looking at it for what it is and not for what they see it as.
Okay. So before we go into further details on that, I want to ask Garth, why would people feel that, because you have had that experiences where you have met with families who felt, look, I just need to get this person somewhere out of my sight because I'm so distressed. So tell us a bit about what is happening in the minds of a family member or members who feel this person should be locked away and you should throw the key away. What is your experience with that?
That's a good question, because I saw my mother go through it. Most parents just want an answer after they try by themselves, because I would say to parents from the time they call me, it's because they tried everything else and it's failed, you know, even rehabilitation at times. An addict in a home literally terrorizes the family. And the longer it goes on, the family as well becomes sick. So much so that I've seen in some instances where people put burglar proof around their fridge and stove, because me as an addict, I took everything up that was valuable and carried it to sell or to barter for drugs. And the sort of terrorism that goes on in the home, where especially if you have larger the family, is more because there will be conflict now with mother or father and children. Why do you get him out of the house? Look how every day you have you crying. You know, mother would come home, she would put her salary down. Once she goes out of sight, I go into the bag and take out the money. You know, my mother would hide money. No matter where she hide the money, I would find it. Then there's that at night when parents should be relaxed and sleeping. You know, they know when the phone rings, she jumps because she don't know who's calling, and the addicts are more out late at night. You know, that's the time I would be roaming.
They roam at night.
Yes. So she would hardly get sleep, because every noise she hears, it would startle out of her sleep. So that lack of sleep, you have, you know, lack of sleep after a time, it builds up, that stress building up in the home.
So you're not thinking in a logical, rational way anymore?
No,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about me. The addict really don't think about, you know, when I imagine your mother is the only breadwinner in the family, and she worked the entire week, and she brings home her salary. She now has to, she already planned to go in the market, she already planned to buy stuff for the home and for the, and then when she comes to look for that money, it's gone, or half of it is gone. That could send her mother crazy. So when that continues to pile up and pile up and pile up, I could tell you it piled up for my mother when I took some drapes that she thought she had in her cupboard, because my mother was a Christmas person, and that she didn't enjoy the year, so she went to look for the drapes to put it up, and she didn't see the drapes. That was the last straw, I think, was for her, because I remember her standing on the back step and asking God, kill my son from her, please. Now, when a mother could reach to that, she's at her wit's end. Now, if somebody had called her that very moment and say, look, I have a place for your son, but we have to either tie him up and bring him or surprise him and take him there, she would have said yes. And because of all the pain and sorrow and stress and problems that an addict brings to the home, I think sometimes it's easy for a parent to give in to her son or daughter being forcibly
Because you
rehabbed.
can no longer take that
Can no longer
torture.
yes, it's actually torture.
So when they become desperate.
That's desperation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because just as the addict becomes desperate, family members become desperate too.
Of course, because remember, okay, let's say you took your son to a rehab facility, he spent his time there, 3 months, he graduated, you feel happy, he's home, and then he relapses. You know that relapse is going to escalate the use from the last occasion. So here we go again, back into that zone. And then it continues to get worse, and then probably if you have another son, he would be taking the son's stuff, he and the son constantly fighting, and the parents getting the blame because you have him, you encouraging him, because every time he comes, you're giving him food, look, you're giving him money, and I think it's a boiling point that a parent reaches, that they will accept a situation where...
So that comes to the point where we, therefore, as providers and as treatment providers, should not exploit that desperation, but rather should find ways to help that will be sustainable.
Yes.
Because, for example, let us say you take this young person or this person, put them lock them up or tie them up with. That is not treatment.
No, it's not.
All we are doing
It's
is
not
keeping
really
them away
treatment.
from the drug,
Yes.
and then as soon as they're out, they're going to go right back. Because, as we said in our center, addiction is a disease.
Right.
And like any disease, you require treatment. We also know it's progressive, it gets worse, and we also know it's relapsible.
This is...
So you don't get cured. And that is why the program is one of family orientations, where families come not just to get information, but they go through therapy.
Right.
So that if it comes a point where the person went back and relapsed, they know to let go. They know, look, there's nothing I can do now. And when you're ready for help, I will help you. But they could detach. But when the family members don't have that treatment and that training and that therapy,
they are at a disadvantage.
they always feel they have to rescue this person or lock them up or wish they die. There are many people who would say, look, I wish my son was dead, because if he was dead, I could at least go to the grave, but I have peace of mind and I know he's safe. Because when he's out there using, I don't know what's going to happen if they're going to call me and say he was arrested, he was killed, he's being held against his will. That is traumatic for me.
I know what mothers do too. I noticed too that mothers suffer more than fathers. Mothers actually, because of giving birth to this child, they always feel that there must be something. Fathers after a time would say, look, I got business, he could do what he wants.
So the fathers can let go, but mothers don't.
Mothers don't. Because father tell me, say, God, I have a boat, I could climb down the island and throw him off. And I said, no, you can't do that. How you going to do that? You say, yeah, I just done the whole story. But mothers suffer more.
I think there was a situation where a father had taken a son to a boat in the sea or somewhere and tried to shoot him or something. I remember that story, yes.
I told him, I said, no, you can't do that, you'll get into trouble.
But that is also changing, because we find now in our society and at large, men are evolving, and there are men who will hold on to their loved one just as much as mother, but the majority, it seems to suggest
the women.
That women, but men are evolving, and there are men who are equally supported with that. And coming back to what you shared about your mom, that's classical signs of how addiction affect the individual socially,
Yeah.
the relationship in his life. I mean, a mother giving birth to a son, no mother
Yes.
wakes up a morning and give birth to a son and say, I want him to be an addict to give me pain and suffering. No,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
over time, when she feels these hurts and pain, classic, she wants a quick pill to end it all.
Yes.
You know, and
Yeah.
desperation come in. And I remember that there was a time when my experience with a client, you know, his parents brought him up with his hands tied, his feet tied,
What?
in the back seat of the car. So he came up to the screen, and so I asked him, where's your son? He said, he's in the car. I said, why he can't come? He said, we have him
Wow.
tied up. I said, well, we would not be able to take him under those circumstances.
Right, right.
Because first of all, it's inhumane. Secondly, of course, you're forcing him to come here against his will. And if you bring him here, as soon as you go down the hill and we let him out, he's going to.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a voluntary program. You have to be willing. Clients have to have the insight to want it.
Yes.
And even if they don't want it for themselves and they want it for their family, they want it for their wife, they want it for their job, even if that is the case, which is not honorable, but is a good way to start, and we hope while they're there for the 3 months, they could change
Right.
and want it for themselves.
Yes.
So with that in mind, we told the guy that, no, we can't take him. He was disappointed,
Mm-hmm.
but we cannot keep people against their will, and that is what treatment is.
Yeah.
About clients.
can't force
You
treatment
can't
on
force
somebody.
treatment.
You can't
and
force
so on.
treatment.
There has a percentage that an individual has to be motivated to want to change for whatever reason at the
Yeah.
beginning. But we hope during the 3 months they realize
Something
they need it for
happens.
themselves.
Yeah.
I want to go back to you, Gaston, because Paul too was in a desperate situation where he was in active addiction.
Right.
What changed you? What brought you to the point where you felt, look, let me go into treatment and do something about myself? After all that damage you did to your mom and your home circle.
Ironically, it's prison that changed me really. You see, when I went to, I was a client at New Life Ministries at one during my journey. I even became a counselor, doing physical training. But I did not do that for me. I did it for my mom, my girlfriend at the time, because that whole episode of asking God to kill me and all these things, I say, nah, boy, this gone real far, because she was crying, my mother cried daily. So I say, look, let me just, so I accepted it because I went Cora first. I had gone to Cora before that, and I relapsed. So they tried again. I went to New Life Ministry, I stayed the program, I graduated, and but still, it wasn't for me. I did, and I knew I was still harboring thoughts.
So that stresses the point that Paul is making, that
Yes.
it must be voluntary. It must be that you really want to do this
Yeah.
because you want to change your life.
Right, but that wasn't my nuclear blast yet. And I was harboring thoughts of using. Now, I'm a very anal person, and meaning that I will dust this table down about 3 or 4 times. I will see, don't talk for carpet. I just don't want to see no lint on my carpet.
Yeah.
And I will walk around and do that daily. And just the same thing applied to my life. When I was a soldier, I would, while my comrades sleeping, I would be up studying.
So your boots
my
used to be well
weapons.
shined. You used to shine
Yeah,
your boots.
yeah. I mean, I was one of those people who people admired the way I dressed, because I took the extra time to do. I had that kind of personality. Now, when I started using drugs,
So it was like a perfectionist thing.
yeah. So I tried to perfect cocaine use too, because that taste that I got when I just started, I wasn't getting it. Again, and I couldn't understand why. So so every time this was supposed to be the last one, after I finished that, it couldn't be, because I didn't get that euphoric kind of feeling.
So you
Right.
kept
that I got.
chasing the feeling.
Right, and I had to perfect that. So so when I graduated and I kept the same mindset, and just to give you all how strong the addiction was. There was a day I was up at New Life. I just given a session, and I said to I think it was Robert and Leslie, that I had something to take home. Check this journey. I left the hill Went down to St. Augustine, took a taxi from there, went to Curepe. Took a taxi from Curepe. I went to Monterey Post, to San Fernando. They dropped me in Monterey Post by the planet. Bought the cocaine. And now I'm in all white. Took a taxi, went home. Now my mom was home, but I thought
This is while in treatment.
No, this is
No,
why
he
I
was
was
while
working.
he was working.
At the
Working.
center. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
now he's a free person.
Oh,
You
right,
can
right,
your free
right.
movements, your
So
own
I
person.
just said to Leslie, look, I have something to pay to do in town.
Right, so you went and...
But that's how strong that craving was that morning, that I couldn't even wait. So I went home. This was about a little after 10. And my mother was upstairs. I snuck in the back. And we had an old chicken coop in the backyard. I went in there and I had a hit there. Same time she came downstairs to wash. Again, she made the normal routine check downstairs to see if I was there. She went back and she crying as usual. Now I had to figure out now, how am I getting out of this foul coop? With she right by the washroom.
And she didn't see you
And she
there.
didn't see me yet. And so I had now to try to negotiate the fence in all my white clothes and come over on the other street and take the same journey back up to New Life Ministries. Now, if that is not addicted, tell me what is.
Yeah,
Right?
yes.
That was strong, and that was just for a few seconds of pleasure.
And
So-
how clean you were at the time?
Wasn't too much months, but months, you know. But New Life gave me the opportunity because Robert knew my powers as an instructor in the military. So he recommended that I be put on staff.
Teacher
And
instructor. yeah.
Right.
yeah, so they trusted me. When it was eventually found out that
Because you know these things don't hide.
they don't hide because my whole actions and everything, you know. And then I think Gavin sort of rang a bell too. Remember Garth, sorry,
Yeah.
who worked up there at one time, and Garth gave me a ride home. And while he came out of the car, went in his glove compartment, he had an envelope of money, and I took some. And
Wow.
yeah, and I knew I was, but I just couldn't stop myself.
Yeah.
And so when I was eventually, it found out I had relapsed. They told me, no, you have to go back on the program. So now I had to take off my staff clothes and go back in the program as a client, which didn't feel too good,
Yeah.
you know, because now them
Clients
what you
who
gonna
see
say?
us, yeah,
you
yeah.
feel like, look at you know, right? You get guys at that table, like you come across here, you know, because remember the staff is on a
Yes.
different table from the
Yeah.
clients.
So you did that?
And-
You went?
Yeah, I had to.
So that's eating
But
real
I
humble pie.
couldn't settle down. For some reason, I couldn't settle. Eventually, they had to call my mom and say, look, God is not ready, you know, and because I remember that huge football match we had with the USA. I was in the center at
Right.
that time, right? And
Yeah, November 19th.
yes, and I was good during the week. You see, from the time the weekend approaching, my mind would just go crazy,
The
wondering what
bagaboos
I'm
come to
doing.
haunt you.
Yes, and you know, who she going out with this weekend, if she going out with anybody, and that was my focus. It wasn't on treating me. And remember trying to go into the office and make phone calls, and somebody saw me and they reported it, and that was the
So
end
you're
of
totally
my,
out of control.
out of control.
And so that's the interesting thing for us to understand. That addiction really is a disease of the mind. And even though rationally and logically you wanted to stop, you wanted to change your life,
Yeah,
the addiction has taken hold of you because you
Yeah.
were not ready to do this the way it should be done.
I was
And
ready.
that's why we can't force recovery on people.
No,
But we could work with you to bring you to a point where you could say, well, you know, I've now faced all my demons. I realize I need help.
yeah,
And this is where the interventions are important. I'm happy that you do interventions as we do interventions,
yeah,
where we get a lot of distress calls from family. And the person will refuse to come to the center. So we say, okay, we'll organize a crew to go down, past clients and staff, and get your family members together, and let's do a meeting. So we do an intervention, and sometimes people say, I'm not ready. So we say, well, at least you know now what are the options. So when you're ready, call us.
yeah,
And there are people who, after a while, they realize, look, I need to do this thing, and they come up. Paul, you've had a lot of
Yeah.
experiences like that,
Yeah.
where they got a chance to reflect, the whole family confront them, tell them what is happening with their lives, and then there comes a point when they realize, look, I really need to do this because I'm destroying myself, and look at the condition of my family.
yeah. I didn't care.
And-
Exactly.
Excuse me.
Right, and in some cases it work wonders for the the client. Like, you know, I remember doing an intervention with a client. He was totally in active use at the time, and the wife said to me if I could come. I said, well, I'm sorry, I don't come and deal with clients when they're under the influence. They don't hear anything. And she cried out and said, please, I'm begging you if you could come. And something in the way she sounded, I said, well, okay. So I went this Sunday and I talked to the individual, we talked to the family, and he said, you see me, I not able with this thing, you know. And I'm going up there, I'll do an outpatient with you, I'll see you privately. I said, okay. So I see him once, twice. When I see him the second time, he started to make excuses. What? In other words, he started to say, well, I don't think you're a professional. I don't think you...
The normal thing.
I don't know you this, I don't know you that. And
What are your qualifications?
what are your qualifications? And the wife say, I feel he's a smart man, you know. You don't have any receipt and all kind of thing. And the wife said, don't bother with him, that's how he is. So eventually, I make another point. He said, no, I said, but anyhow, I personally think that you need residential treatment. And then boom, the wife called and said, he willing to come up, you know. And then boom, he come up a Friday with all this stuff. I said, well, we don't do it like that. You had to come and get screened. You know, he had to come and get screened. And then he did make the appointment to get screened. He did came up with his support. And now he's doing fantastic. He's clean and sober.
And this is a professional, eh?
Yeah, he's
That's
doing...
somebody who's trained to issue level, has a fairly good position.
Right.
And for him, he thought, well, you know, you have to have a doctorate or something to help him.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you meet a lot of that. People wonder, what are your qualifications? Why were you trained?
Yeah.
The thing is, you're staying clean, you've been through the process, you're helping others, you have your own training. So you don't have to be a PhD to be able to help somebody in recovery.
But you know what's nice? So, for me, like when you like Ministries called my mom and said, look, you have to come and get gas. And my mom came up there and she cried, she begged, she cried, she pleaded. But it was the last straw for them. And I will never forget when I went back home that evening, my mother was walking through the door. I just turned around and I head for Monterey Post. My mother, she couldn't believe it. She said, after all of that drama up the hill, you know, instead of you come home and my mother turned around now and tried to follow me. And she got so upset. And you remember my mother was all this. My mother followed me out and the lady was reversing from her yard and bounced her down. And, you know, thank God she wasn't, you know, severely injured. But that was one of the injuries, that's the scars of me. And then I pushed her to the limit. And so when I left home eventually, and I came to Port of Spain and I joined this music band and started selling the equipment, going to prison for me, that was the wake-up call. Yeah, it was like taking me out of this environment and putting me, you know, in the middle of the Bay of Pigs, you should say, you know, because it was totally different climate, different scenario, different people, and that was my
was a
wake-up
lockdown.
call. Yeah, that was it. That was my lockdown, because I think, and that is when it convinced me years later that there should be a rehab facility set up in the prisons as well, you know, because instead of criminalizing someone, you can actually treat them. If you have to incarcerate them, you know, then you have that facility available in the prison.
Well, it's very interesting that you brought up that point, because remember, we did have, United Ministries had a program for about a year in the prisons. And what is interesting, the majority of clients who participated in that program in the prisons never went back.
I understand it was working very good.
Yes, but
there are people who parents who came to me and asked, why you all not? I said, well, it's not you, it's Life Ministries ran that. She said, but it worked for my son. And
yes, because people in that program, some of them came through YTC their whole life. They were in and out of prisons, in and out. And they came into that program for that 3 months. They did the program, and the majority never went back. But there were forces within the prison walls who didn't want that to work. I'm being very frank with you. So what they really need, and you're right, you're already locked down. So what's a better time to do a treatment program? And we also made sure that the persons who entered that program, even though it was in prison, it had to be voluntary. So we
Okay.
screened the prisoners and their families. We met with the families.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was only those who were willing to come into the program were taken into that program. And families also went through program with us.
Okay. Okay.
So there were some people who had no family members. So we treated you knowing, look, you're on your own 2 feet. You had to do this on your own because you have no support. And we offered aftercare at the Mount. So we said, when you leave prison now and you want to continue with your aftercare program, you're free to come to the Mount. Not many exercise that option, but we know that others who left, up to now they meet Robert, different staff members, people will hail them on and say, I was in the prison program, remember me? And a lot of us do remember them.
Yes, I understand it
So-
worked very well.
Prison
Yes.
rehab works,
It
but
works.
the forces that be don't seem to be interested in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so as I said, sometimes some people's rock bottom might be the prison.
Yes.
For some it's like hospital, for some it might be something else, the
Yeah.
death of a loved one.
Yes.
And that is where voluntary treatment is important.
Yeah.
And there was a conversation we were having just before where we said too, there should be mandatory treatment. For those like yourself who were going through all that stuff, and your mother was so desperate, she needed you to go into some place, at least for her peace of mind. And I think recently Dr. Dayal Singh was speaking about that on one
Yes,
of
he
the TV
did.
station programs.
Yes.
Where there should be a law, where if this person is causing so much distress to families and communities, then that person should be removed from society and placed in a mandatory center, and where with a proper treatment, the person may reach to that point where they seek voluntarily to
Yeah.
stop. But I don't really believe family members should be out there suffering like as it is with no recourse.
Yes.
Because that is where now others will exploit that and set up institutions to just lock them down
Yeah.
and throw
Right.
away the key.
Yeah.
That is not a humane society.
Yeah.
And that's not what we want. So I want to go back to the point of the family meetings, because your mother would have come through that.
Yes.
And the social reintegration, the rebuilding family relationships. So talk a bit about the family meetings and sessions that we have at the Mount.
Right. Well, like I said before, our program is a holistic one, that you will know that. And it involves not just the client, but also the families and how they were affected. So we have a variety of family sessions, which is approximately 4. And the first one is our orientation, to help family members realize that their loved one is not a bad person. You have an evil spell on him. No, be a man and work nothing on him. You know, it's not because it's a curse of the family. No, these are ideas and beliefs some family members come with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Understood.
And that addiction is not something to be shameful about. It don't discriminate. It affects people of all walks in life. And
But I want to
as-
stress on that point what you said earlier about some people see it as a spirit
yeah,
or evil spirit and all those things. And that is where some religious people exploit that. Because if it is a spirit, then I can heal you.
Yes.
Now, we know spirituality is an important part of recovery. It is not the only platform,
correct.
because there are other things you need to do, because it's a disease. So we're not crying down spirituality at all. But what we are saying is that this thing of our evil spirit, it really is maybe a dual disorder. Because we have found clients who come to us, and in fact, every one of our clients must go through a psychiatric evaluation. Because we want to know if there's any schizophrenia. We want to know if it's bipolar disorder, if there's some psychotic problem. And the psychiatrist handles that. If there's a medical problem, the medical doctor handles that. And then we deal with addiction. So as a partnership, we all work together on this client. So going back to the family thing about the orientation.
Right, so the
we explain
orientation,
that.
we address that issue with the mental disease, and we let them know that addiction don't discriminate. It affects people of all walks of life, rich and poor, black and white, upper class, lower class, people from all political parties, from people from all different countries. So they need not feel ashamed that your son or daughter is using a substance and in a rehab center. And it's very important that they accept that, because sometimes the client use that to get at them. They know their family are ashamed, so let me get some money now, let me get some money, brother, give me some money. No. Well, you know what, I go down the road and ask the shopkeeper or something, oh, no, look, hold this. So when they come to terms with the fact that addiction is a disease and that the client has the power within themselves to change, not the family, the client has the power within them to change, then they start to get some insight into addiction as well as themselves, because they realize some of them have been enabling us. anything go wrong, they try to fix it right away, and the client don't feel the consequences of their actions.
And then sometimes the client blame the family member. Says because of you, because you
Correct.
quarrel too much, because you didn't give me this. They blame the family. That's why I am like this.
And some family members accept that blame. They buy it wholesale.
Because some believe in generational curses too.
Yeah.
Yes, very good
So-
point.
Correct. So with this session now is specifically geared to orient them about the nature of addiction and how they need to start to deal with the situation differently. How in certain cases they may have to let go. How in certain cases they may have to set boundaries. I love you, but I don't love you to death. If you do this, I will not be assisting you with this. This is some of the consequences you have to face as a result of your action, not my action. So that is one family session. And then we have another family session which is called family and recovery. Now, just as how the client need to go into recovery, and a recovery is an active change of their ideas and their attitudes, the way they see things, the way they deal with things, the family too need a program of recovery to see things differently. So some of the things we will tell them: not to feel ashamed, not to be overwhelmed by the client when they come out. We recommend strongly that they start taking care of themselves. Because what we know for a fact is that a lot of clients, when they come into treatment, sometimes in some chronic cases, you don't know which one is the client and which one is the family, because the family looks so haggard and tired and weary
That's a very good point.
that they can't go on. So we have to ask who's the potential client and who's the
And I
family
think
members.
an interesting part of the process of family recovery is we try to get a family member who already is in recovery, whose client is already on the road to recovery, and that person comes and gives a testimony and have an interactive session.
Right.
So other family members realize, well, if you could go through this
Correct.
and you looking so happy today and you coping well, we could do this too. So it's a kind of motivational interaction between a recovering family member and those who are now in recovery.
The journey is so long, it's almost like daunting for some.
Yeah.
I know, I mean, thank God, you know, that 6 months I did at Golden Grove was enough for me. And you wouldn't believe, even after that, we started the radio program and we started to build from there. And my mom still was not comfortable. My mom,
Would have been
But
years
it take
after.
a while. It
it
take a while.
took a very long time because she was so scared that, you know, she was worried about when I wasn't working.
Right.
And you know, when I sounded like I was down, and she would call me from time to time. She would, the Calypso, she was really rooting for me to go the distance with that too, you know.
To be a custodian?
To reach the marsh ground.
Oh, okay.
You know, all
Yes.
these things. You know, the one time I reached Kidder Park, she was in a glee because she just wanted to know that I was not going to go back there.
Right.
And you see, that
You
is
know?
testimony to the fact that how families are so traumatized.
Yes.
That not because you are clean, it means that they are going to feel that peace of mind.
Yeah.
And that is why they need that help to be able to let go and start to live their life.
Yeah.
And there were
Because
times,
years later on, she's still worried whether you're going to go back.
She was worried.
Because
sick.
relapse is a very real possibility for
To her
so
dying
many.
day.
and that is
She was
natural.
worried.
Yeah, that is natural.
She
and,
was.
and then you must have said at times to her, "Mom, I'm done. I finished. I ain't going back."
Yeah, she.
And in the
And
initial
promise she will
stages,
stop.
and she believed that in the initial stages.
Yeah.
And that is why in the treatment facility, this is a very important part where we tell family members, not because the client is clean and healthy now and looking good, it means that they pass go and they collect $200 like you're doing Monopoly, and as you pass go,
Yes.
you're good. No.
Yeah. Some families
Look
get
at
through
what
that.
the client is doing. Don't look at what they're saying, because as they know, clients have a tendency to make a lot of promises that they don't keep. So we encourage the family members, look and see how he's interacting with you when they get a visit. What are some of the things he's saying? If he's saying like, you bring this for me, you bring that for me, I want to get this, I want to get this, that is same old. If he's saying, how are you going? You know, in spite of the fact what they bring me here, I don't like it, but at least today, I'm no longer using drugs. Some simple telltale signs to
Right.
tell that this person is
Really.
moving in the right step, in the right direction. Still, that person isn't cured. Still, that person isn't home free. But you could see a journey that this person is journeying in a particular direction. So we don't give family false hope. We don't. We
Yeah,
make,
for example, if the client is not doing well, we tell the family members we are not
Right.
happy with this person's progress.
Yes.
And we think he needs an extended stay at
Okay.
no cost to you, but he needs an extended stay.
Right.
So because we have 90 days, it doesn't mean you say at the end of 90 days you're off. If you're going to graduate close to Christmas, we keep you on to Christmas, after Christmas until New Year's, you say that is a time when it's slippery for you. So you will stay in the center, and on Christmas Day, all families would come normally. Everybody bring a dish, and you spend Christmas with your family. And family members so welcome that, because they say for the first time, they don't have to be afraid. They don't have watching to see whether he's home or not, all the issues that they face with. They love coming out to Mount St. Benedict or Palo Seco, spending the day with their client, eating and drinking non-alcoholic drinks,
Right.
and enjoying a quiet, interactive time with their family members. So if it's Carnival, we don't send you on Carnival. It doesn't matter if you reach 95 days. After Carnival, from Ash Wednesday, sure, we can graduate you and leave you. But we are not going to expose you to those slippery times. So for us, if you came as a psychotic person and you're on treatment and every month you have to go for your injection and come back and stuff, what we will say, well, until this person is mentally stable, then they will access the program. When they are ready, then we will start to discharge this person. But we are not about, well, every 90 days we send you out or we keep you against your will. There are some people who say you need to stay longer. The person say, no, I don't need to stay longer, I need to leave. Say, no problem, we graduate you. But 9 out of 10 times, they relapse.
Yeah.
Because as you know, when we know what we are doing, you can see somebody, they're not ready to leave.
Yes.
So we can tell and we advise the family. So we work very closely with the family members. Now we know that there are family members who want things their way too. So sometimes it's a battle because the approach we are taking with the client, they may think we are too harsh. We say, okay, no pass this weekend or no visits. Some family members had to woke up themselves and carry on, and why are you punishing the client and all of that? We said we try to help the client to understand what is disappointment, or he is not ready as yet.
Some families actually do that.
What's
Yes.
that?
They protest.
Yeah,
when-
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
They try to manipulate early
Yeah.
pass.
Okay, and it's
Yeah.
easy. For example, some family members, some clients would say things like, for example, if I am a client of a parent that they want me to go in treatment, but they're concerned about my safety at the center, or they're concerned about my meals at the center. I, being an addicted person, I don't want to be here. I will say things like, I am feeling very unsafe in that environment out there. You know.
There are plenty of prisoners
It's about
here.
all kind of prisoners out there, all kind of people out there. And in the night, I just had to sleep with my grill locked. So when the family hear that, they say, what kind of place are they running here? They believe this story, hook, line, and sinker.
And take the client out.
And take the
This
client
can be
out.
so manipulative.
Correct.
They will
Correct.
say, you see, the rice has weevil in it. The food burn, this, that.
Yeah.
Now, we cook 3 fresh meals every day,
Yep.
right? We
Yeah.
have 3 full-time cooks.
Mm-hmm.
We go to Makoya market and buy wholesale vegetables. We buy fresh chicken off a poultry shop, all kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
And we,
Yes.
the staff members, have the same lunch
As you
the
know.
clients.
Right.
We
Yes.
eat
All of
the
us eat
same
the same
food.
thing, right?
Yes. Yes.
So they will tell the family members they're getting burned food, there's weevil in the food not good, this is good for dog, the dog get eating better than us.
Yeah.
And family members, oh, my poor son, can I bring food for him inside?
Yeah.
Can I,
Yeah.
bring breakfast, lunch? Can I bring for all the clients? We say, no, we don't accept cooked
Yeah.
foods.
Right.
Why don't accept cooked foods? Well, we don't know what time you cook it. We don't know what conditions they're cooked in. We don't want any food poisoning in the center. We cook fresh meals. There are families who insist they want to bring something.
Yeah.
So then we say, if you're bring fruits. And because fruit's safe,
Yeah.
right? Or pastries perhaps, but
Yeah.
no cooked food unless we could sanction it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have real trials with families who don't want us to go the route we are taking.
Listen, I always recommend, many times people would call us, and we would always recommend New Life Ministries first, because once a client is ready for treatment, I'm really impressed with the program structure of New Life Ministries. Is that the program actually helps to get the person life back in order, in a semblance of order. So there is a plan from the time you wake up in the morning
Correct.
to before you go to bed. Now that to me is a very, very important
So we give you
component.
structure, because the
Structure
addict has
that-
no structure.
None. when you go to rehab, it was wherever, anytime, you know. But
So there must be rules, there must be regulation.
rules and
How you
regulation.
interact, how you eat, how you dress. You can't come in the dining room without bathing.
All of that.
And wearing clean clothes.
Right.
And being properly dressed.
But I've seen clients actually jump the fence.
Yes.
And
Yes,
you're in the streets.
yes.
Yeah.
Because, and they once you jump that fence, mister, you can't come back in. And this, so what? And they just jump the fence and no.
And we say, look, if you want to leave, tell us. We're going to call your family, we're going to talk to you, but if you still insist, you sign a 24-hour discharge.
Yeah.
And now the reason why we ask you to sign a 24-hour, because we're hoping in that 24 hours you could change your mind.
Right.
But those who really, as you would have done, go down to Monrepo, get your stuff and come back.
Yeah.
The addiction take over, so they
go
just
on,
they have to leave immediately. But we say, look, you want to leave, not a problem. We're going to talk with you, make sure your family is aware. Of course, you know, once you jump the fence, we have to call your family immediately and say, well, Gat has just jumped the fence at 8:15, and, you know, make sure he's no longer in the center, because we have to protect ourselves.
Right.
Because if you go down there and something happens,
something
say, you say,
Yeah.
but I left him in the care of the center, and how come this happened to him?
He's an adult, and he is not a prison.
Yeah.
In the sense that we don't have guards watching people, we don't have people locked up in dorms. No, the doors are open, the gate is open, but we are an institution, so we have to protect ourselves from the outside. So that's the reason the gate on the compounds are closed, but the dorms itself is open. If somebody wants to leave, they're free to leave, and we will talk to them. But if they jump prematurely, they would not be able to come back in the program at the same time as the others who they were with. They have to be reassessed and screened, because if we allow somebody to jump over the fence and then come back in the program, other clients will say, you know what?
I could go down the hill
I
and
go
use
and
and
jump
come back.
tonight and come back, yes, you know, and then I will go. No. So it has to be.
And even when you have
a
to come back, you face
structure.
a panel.
Correct.
So you don't just
Okay.
get a screen. We have a panel of those who worked with you before, and then other staff. We take your file and everything. We get all your progress notes. So when you come now, we want to see whether you're coming with the same mindset. And if we feel you have the same mindset and you just come here for arrest, or because maybe the police looking for you or something, we are not taking you. You came because when you went down the hill, you realized you made a mistake, you had a rethinking about the whole situation, and you want to try this again. That is okay. But if we feel you're coming for arrest, what do you call it, 6-plate syndrome?
6-plate syndrome.
3 days, you get enough food, you sleep.
Syndrome. After you eat 6 plates of food, you start to feel fat and nice, and you tell yourself, you see me, I got to go. I really don't need this program anymore.
I could do this on my own.
Yes, yes.
So that's what we do, you know.
And one of the things we enforce, and I remember starting in the beginning when I started working, I reinforced this with families, is that here is not a prison. People are not kept here against their will. They are not locked up, and there are no prison officers here. On the other hand, it's not a 5-star hotel, in the sense that you don't have maids cleaning your dorms.
Right.
You can't sit down and order food. You can't go and come as you please. So we make it clear to them that the chores that they do is not that we are trying to save money, or we're trying to exploit them by letting them take care of the environment, like clean the bathroom, clean the yard, see about the gardening. All that is
Fix
part
their
of the
bed, or
program.
wash their own clothes.
All that is part of the program, and this program that we offer is a model, a Bellwood model from Canada. So even though the rehab is in China, the model is a Bellwood model from Canada, and we have people from America. We have had a psychiatrist from Aruba. We have had people from
Medical doctors.
medical doctors from
the
abroad. We have
BVI,
medical
right.
doctors from here. People from all walks of life came to our program because of our model. It's a
Okay.
first world country model,
Right,
which does not allow for any of the programs to have people there against their will.
I know what,
That's not part of
I
it.
appreciate this discussion so much, because
Yeah.
for one, I think the average family or there doesn't hear this side of the discussion. What because I know a lot of families got caught with they let down their guard too early, and there are some, because one of the rules that I know, and I heard it in meetings, what should happen, like when the addict leaves the facility now, they graduate and they leave. And let's say I get back my job. If I'm married or if I live home with a parent, but there must be somebody to collect my salary. I should not be able to collect my salary once I start back to work.
Because we do the discharge plan,
The
which
discharge plan.
outlines all your
Right.
physical, your mental, your social, your spiritual, and
Right.
your recovery program. You go
Right.
to either AA or NE. You have to have a joint account with somebody, or somebody else manage your money. Up to 2 years. Sometimes people say, I'm a big man, I'm a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Why should somebody else, I earn my own money? You say, no, money is a trigger. So money management is a critical component of the program, because there are some people who, because they have an addiction issue, they take them in a facility and they put them to work and teach them a trade. Now you and I know, having a trade is good, but from the time they get their first salary, where are they going to go? Not in the block? So first you must deal with the addiction. And if you want to have a trade alongside that, fine, but addiction requires treatment. And when a person is able to handle a salary, then they can stay clean. And that is why our program is 2 years. When you're finished, you have your discharge plan. Your family, the therapists and counselors, and the client prepare this discharge plan together.
Okay.
We all agree on this. Family gets a copy, client has a copy, we have a copy. We come to your follow-up every Monday. And in that follow-up, we talk about your progress and any issues you have, any challenges. Even if you relapse, no problem. How did it happen? Some people come back for a relapse program, where I want like 2 or 3 weeks to get myself back in order. So we do that, but up to 2 years, you come every Monday, and then the families come on the last Monday. But for the rest of your life, you can come to Mount St. Benedict if you're a recovering person who have been through our program. So there are people who are like 20 years clean, 25 years clean. They may live abroad. And when they come to Trinidad, they come and visit, because they want to come back and reconnect with the group and with the staff and things like that. So we see ourselves as an extended family, because we know you, we know your children, your grandchildren, the entire family.
Right.
And people appreciate the fact that we reached out to them in their time of need.
Yes.
So that is what treatment is about. Treatment is not to lock up somebody and throw away the key. We really don't support that.
Yeah, I do support it, Isa, and I'm really happy that we have the New Life Ministries model in Trinidad and Tobago, so that nationally it should be known about. And you all give me an idea that I could invite you all to our program to come and discuss the same and run it down for the people, because people need to hear this. It's not discussions that you hear every day on national radio, because remember, and then there are the legal side of it as well, the judiciary. Now, we've on the radio program that we have, we've advocated for drug treatment courts. There are 2 right now. But, and the same model you speak about, it's, we saw it in Canada. We introduced it here. We had to do some agitating for a couple of years, but eventually they introduced it. But not all magistrates are on board with it. So the latest story, just recently, a young man in Tobago, very bright young man, families of getting, one is a doctor and the other one is a professor. The guy has 8 distinctions, but he has 8 convictions. And he's going before a magistrate for breaking and entering. And nobody sit back
That
and
should
say,
have been a red flag.
nobody sit back and say, wait a minute. You're not from a family of criminals. You're an intelligent person, academically qualified. Why you keep coming in front of me for breaking and entering? The guy has a drug problem.
Exactly.
And not understanding 8 convictions means that when you apply for a police certificate of good character, you ought to get one along like that. It's not that simple sheet you will get. When I applied for my 1 sheet and it's clean now because of our presidential pardon, there's a domino effect here. Right? There are a number of people walking around with convictions in this country, and they're not criminal offenders, they're not bad people.
They're not criminal in true sense of the word.
No.
They just succumbed to a disease.
Exactly.
And they needed help and didn't know how to get help.
Now, how do we convince the judiciary that we need to take a different approach to giving people convictions? Because sometimes someone could be going through a zone, they hang with the bad crowd, maybe from high school or university, and once they come out of that zone, but they have a conviction, they get the ideal job.
So now they have a life sentence now.
They get the ideal job, or they get a chance to travel with a national team. And now they have to submit their names to an embassy to get a visa. They would go through everybody that fine-tooth comb. Or your employer, I always tell people that magic column on that form when you're filling out. Was it any time you were charged and convicted of a crime, tick yes or no and explain. See, that column is what comes back to haunt people 10 years down the road. Because now you'll have to explain how you end up with a conviction, right? And you weren't a bad person. You're not a bad person.
That's a very good point. Yes.
You know, and a lot of people walking around with convictions in this country.
Another element too, you know, Garth, is people who, let us say, they are an alcoholic and they have been arrested and they're chronic alcoholic. You put them in a cell. They can't drink. That person gets a seizure.
Yeah.
That person has to start to hallucinate and maybe get violent in the cell. And you think, well, this person is mental, but this person is dying. They can actually die of a seizure.
Yeah.
So even the police service also needs to get information about when they arrest people.
There you go.
Again, addiction, because somebody may appear to be mentally ill, but they might be psychotic.
Yeah.
Marijuana-induced psychosis. Well, that's another discussion on marijuana and the whole debate on that.
Oh, yeah.
So our public officers need that education, and that's a very valid point. The whole thing of decriminalization, because it's not a crime in the true sense of the word, but rather the person has a disease.
Yes.
So, you know, when we're having fun, the time goes quickly.
Yes, boy.
So we want to just wind up, if I may. So, Garth, I would just give you, you know, any comments you'd like to make as we come to the close of our program.
We winding up already.
Yeah, time flies.
Yeah, boy, man. This conversation needs to be had extended.
So we have to have you back another time.
No, and
so we could look at decriminalization of marijuana and some other relevant issues that are on the front burner currently.
And I would like to extend an invitation to you all too as well. We will keep in touch with you so that we could have New Life Mission as a guest on our program.
And we could collaborate a little bit more because, you know,
sure.
we are in the same business, you know, of helping people.
Yeah, but I thank you for the opportunity this morning. And, you know, I'm sincerely want to let people out there know that it's not a quick fix. It takes a while for us to get to where we got to. And the journey back is just as long. But it can work once the person is ready, once the family understands what addiction is, and once you have an institution such as New Life Ministries to guide you through the process. I think it's a wise choice. And we still have a long way to go in Trinidad and Tobago with regard to understanding substance abuse and its related ills. There needs to be a connection with social and legal and all the minds coming together to help us. I mean, we're too small a country to have, you know, so many people locked up in prison for, you know, for non-violent offenders and all of these things. And I think we need to have a stronger conversation and a connection so that we can have a proper domino effect, because some of the dominoes missing.
Well
Nice,
said.
well said.
Paul?
Yeah, I just want to endorse what he has said, and that is so important for us to all work together in harmony in helping people, because there's a lot of productive people, creative people out there who have a lot to offer society, and these simple barriers could prevent them from reaching their true potential. So God is only thanks. That's so true.
I want to thank both of you guys once more. You know, very special thanks to you, Paul. Thank you so much. Very useful discussion. So our family out there and those who are still suffering with addiction. We hope today's program would have been useful. We hope to hear from you. See you then. Have a great week. May God bless you and all the best. Thank you very much for viewing.
And sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on my